I lied and I am alone. Hopefully Lisa and Karen will be here soon. But in the meantime, I shall continue setting up for my artwork, crafting 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I'm trying to decide as I continue to work on my boots this week if I should. I've been blocking in on this one. Trying to decide if I should start blocking in on this one before I continue working on this so that I've got some on each. Or if I should completely finish this one and then work on this one. A little bit undecided, but either way, I'm also trying to find my rinsing cup. Okay, I'm not seeing one. Like my reusable ones that I usually use. I will have to use that, I suppose. Usually I fill them with tap water before I come in. But since I forgot to, I'm going to use a bit of my precious distilled water. Oh, if only I had a. Oh, knocking candles over. If only I had a sink in my workshop. There's a lot of problems. Although it would not solve a problem with today's because this workshop is not very large. Just grabbing some paper towels really fast. And I'm really starting to wonder where my companions are. Because usually at least one of them's here by now. Sent them a message. Meanwhile, I'm gonna start to open a drawer on these to catch halfway and then pull the entire drawer forward. I think I'm going to block out on the other boot, get some blocking into each of them, and then start doing the shading and highlighting and other detail work on each of them after the fact. I want to make sure that I block in things that match well enough, but don't go exactly. I don't want it, I don't want the boots to be exact copies of each other. I want them to be a pair, but unique in their own rights as well. So I think I have roses on the toeses of that one. Just had to say that way. So, aha, we have Lisa.
Hello?
Hey, How
Hi.
are you?
Running super late, but other than that, I'm okay.
It's okay. I've just been sitting here talking to the internet on
Hopefully,
my own.
I did remind Karen, so she should be here eventually.
Um,
Ah, be a little bit tender with the stitching today. I bruised my pinky, and I'm not sure how.
don't do that.
Ah, uh,
There we go.
I do
That's
have
all
a
on it.
project though, so that's good.
Good. What you working on?
Um, well, I'm finishing up a late but was intended late Christmas gift. Um, And if I finish that, I'm still working on a scarf. So,
You're still working on what?
a scarf.
Oh, a scarf. Cool. I I'm still working on my boots, but I just spent the past few minutes kind of debating while I was finishing setting some stuff up. But I've decided since I've got the things sort of blocked in and the undertones put in place on this
Ooh,
one, which is what I finished doing during our last session. I'm going to start blocking things in on this one because I want to get the undertones in on both and then start doing um the what's the word I'm looking for? The shading and highlights on both so that partly so that I can make sure that that it like that they match but without being like symmetrical over each other, but also so that as I'm working on shading and highlighting, I don't end up wasting paint having to get it multiple times. I don't want to go back to blocking and then after I've already been doing shading and highlighting and then go back to shading and highlighting again after that. If you
that
hear,
makes sense.
I don't know what this microphone picks up and doesn't, but if you hear random crinkling of paper over there, it's just my cat.
Okay. I haven't heard any, so.
He decided that some um, shipping paper is the precise place that he's supposed to be laying right now. And since he's still recovering from an ear infection, I'm being a little more indulgent than I otherwise would be.
Poor kitty.
You know this, but for anybody watching who may not, he had an ear infection that caused swelling in his head, like around his head, and he had to have it lanced, and it was a whole thing. And so just being pretty indulgent with him right now as I'm trying to get him to eat more because he hadn't been able to eat well for a little while. But he's doing a lot better than he was last week. And I'm glad that last week was not a book craft session week because it was a very long Tuesday as it was.
Yeah, agreed.
So, um, I had said on Facebook that I would um say a little bit more about business stuff today.
Yay,
Um,
I'm excited.
and I can't remember, honestly. Oh, I should really turn the sound off on my phone. Wow. I can't remember what I had said before and what I had not. Um,
Say it all, new episode.
but yeah, new year, new everything. Um, oh, and we have a Karen. So
Yay!
let's let Karen get settled. Um, and hello,
Hey,
welcome.
I'm
How
running
are
late
you?
today. I apologize.
Lisa was running late too. I spent the first 5 minutes just talking to the internet by myself.
Oh, my
I considered talking about some of the stuff with my business at the time, but I figured that it was highly likely that somebody would end up just popping in the middle of me saying something, and then I'd end up repeating myself anyway.
See, so now you can start from the beginning.
So, of course, you two know anybody who has followed along on Facebook knows, and I cannot remember what I've said on Bookcraft and what I haven't, but I left my job the end of December. So Lisa and I no longer work together. When we started this, Lisa, Karen, and I were all three at the same job, and now Lisa's the only one still there. And they are blessed to still have her. But I have had a lot of things going on that my family needs me more at home, but I also have had a lot of opportunities coming up, and I have the opportunity to really focus on Pixie Elegance and on building the business more. So I am working primarily on that, along with a few other things on the side, in the process of, in the interest of maintaining some income while building business. But yeah, I've been working on that. That's kind of been my past week, has been my first foray into a long time ago. I was a stay-at-home mom, and then in fact, for about half of my oldest son's life, I was a stay-at-home mom. And then the second half of his life, I was a working mom. And for the first time in his life, or mine, I am now a work from home mom. And I am going to be working on, in addition to building the business, I'm going to be working on more things with the social media, which I was hoping to have more going with already, but there are certain behind the scenes legal business certificate things and stuff that we're getting figured out. I have a business partner I'm working with, but he is in Pennsylvania. He's the one who understands like legalese and financialese a lot better than I do. But he doesn't live in Maine, and the business is based in Maine. And so I'm trying to figure out the Maine-based part of things. As we're figuring all of that out, some of the other parts haven't gone quite as quickly as I was hoping, but there is progress in all of it. We were really hoping to have products out the end of this month, depending on when we manage to get some of our supplies. It may not be quite as soon as we were hoping, because particularly because soap takes 4 weeks to cure, the kind of soap I make at least. So the time frame of when we're able to get our supplies depends on getting some of our certificates, and the time frame of that depends on some people that I'm in contact with right now. But once that's all taken care of, as soon as we've got it, we should have a much more definite timeline and launch date at that point. But I also am going to be using the time to build more on the YouTube channel, on Facebook, possibly on Instagram. I only hesitate there because I'm really bad at keeping up with Instagram. I should be better about it, especially because I am hey Karen, you have a person behind you. I am
Apologies. I was muted because he was yelling at something for a minute.
gotcha.
So
Hi.
You can say hi to everybody.
I'm gonna talk to him real quick.
Yep.
I'll be back.
Do that. I'm gonna finish what I was saying now. So I'm going to get a lot more of that taken care of, hopefully. And I'm possibly going to be streaming some making some things on Twitch, which I'll probably then upload to YouTube also. So anything that I stream in other places will probably also get uploaded to YouTube. But basically, we're working on getting some products out and also on building some community. So if you are not subscribed to our other social media, now's the time to do it, to keep connected with everything. And if you are interested in anything at all to do with this, just like keep an eye on everything. And I will, of course, keep mentioning things during book craft sessions as well. But I'm really excited to actually finally be moving forward with this. It's been a long time working toward this, a good 5 years, 10 years since the name Pixie Elegance and the initial jewelry business I wanted to start that got set aside for a while. But 5 years since this iteration of this business that I wanted to start to promote other artists and crafters and to reclaim the true meaning of the word craft as a skill that you hone, and to help people see where the products that they use come from. It's been 5 years that I've been working on this, pursuing my master's and working on all of the different factors. So I'm just really excited that I was finally at the point to be able to actually be avidly working toward building this business now. So that's what I wanted to say about that. And Karen, Lisa had mentioned what she's working on. I'm still working on my boots. What are you working on today?
I'm horrifically underprepared on crafts today. So I'm just gonna be working on my new logo that I'm gonna be coming out with
Sweet.
for my 3rd year anniversary. I did originally have, I showed you in the past, of a fairy with beads and then like the word Pixie Products over the beads dragging from behind her, but I really want to get away from that because that's just it's nice, but I need to change it. So I'm sketching out some ideas and gonna try something different.
Nice. So, chapters 44 and 45 of Little Women.
Relatively short chapters compared to what we've been reading.
Yeah.
And second to last set of chapters.
Yeah,
I
I gotta
when
get the next book.
I read that where 44 is My Lord and Lady and then 45 is Demi and Daisy, and I read them in the table of contents as My Lord and Lady, Demi and Daisy. And then I got to the actual chapter and I was like, wait a second, that doesn't say anything about Demi and Daisy. And it wasn't until like I got to the next chapter that I was like, oh, that's what I did.
Yep.
I'm just sharp like that. Yeah, so did anyone want to start the recap or you want me to?
So basically, I guess I'll take a swing at it. Basically, Lord and Lady follows Teddy and Amy after leaving the big festivities at their home house. For a better name of it, I don't have.
I like it.
The March house. And basically it's them making a lot of revelations and conversations and being a newly married couple.
Yep.
Little cute thingies that they say to each other.
Yeah. Try to do a synopsis without giving away things.
Did Karen just refer to something between Amy and Lori as cute?
Yeah, she did.
I'm so proud of you.
She's not Dido. She won't go down with the ship.
Yeah, I not only totally get that, but I have my own ships that I'm like that with.
Did you catch the reference, Karen? Did you catch the reference?
I caught the reference. Okay, I gotta say that although my Joey and Teddy ship did fail horrifically, and as sad as I am about that, I am okay with the Mr. Bear and Joe ship.
Yay!
I'm
And I
still
guess
awkward
Amy
about it
and
because of the
Lori are
age gap.
kind of cute together.
I-
Amy and Lori are kind of cute.
Amy and Lori become very cute together. They're not my favorite couple, but I do love Joe and Bear.
And like it's because somebody mentioned it to me, I did have plenty pre-warning that was probably gonna end up this way. And I saw all the signs.
Yeah.
End
I
up this
feel like
way,
at this point we've been talking about it for like a year.
We have.
right?
But having warning of something and being okay with it are not always the same thing. And I understand that. But I love Mr. Bear and I love him with Joe.
Yes.
What were you gonna say, Lisa? I
I
know.
struggle with the
I
age gap.
know.
It's
I know the
I mean,
age
he's
gap.
like 50. I think they even mentioned that in his thing. He's like 50.
Didn't
I'm
we
like-
establish last time that he was like 40 or something?
I think they said that he was like 50 in the Lord and Lady chapter. But
I don't remember them saying his name in that they definitely said his name. I don't remember them saying his age in that chapter.
maybe I could have imagined it, but still, yeah, still like 40. She's like mid-20s.
I know people with a bigger age gap than that
I
who are a
know.
really cute couple, and it works for them. And okay, so let's back up. So the chapter starts adorably with Lori coming in going, "Please, Madam Mother, could you lend me my wife for half an hour?" And I don't know if I'm more amused by him calling her Madam Mother or by the overall request. There's I think you two have both heard me, but probably more Lisa, talk about some of the Pride and Prejudice fan fictions I've been reading lately. But there's a few that I read by the same author that are kind of all variations on the same theme. This author doesn't have a lot of variety in their concepts, but they are well written and fun. And one of the things that they do in every single one of them is that Elizabeth starts referring to Lord and Lady Matlock as Lord Uncle and Lady Uncle. And so having him refer to Marmee as Madam Mother made me think of that, and it was just cute. And then Mrs. March is, I forget that you have any home but this.
Like
and
she's not ready to let her kids go yet.
Joe isn't married yet, but still Amy's the baby. And even though she hasn't been home for a really long time, she came home married. They thought she was gonna be coming home, and then she came home married. And it does take some adjustment. Get off in this random and excessively drawn out comparison of Amy being like the wind pointing Lori the right direction. Really, really, really drawn out. What's the word I'm looking for? Metaphor. That's the one. Talk a little bit about what they're going to do after Lori and Amy are fully settled. And then anyone have any idea what Madame Recamier means? He calls her that. Laurie calls Amy that. And she's like, come away, impertinence, and don't shock my family by calling me names before their faces. And I have no idea what that means.
I thought that it was like a cute pet name or something, a reference to a current art, like writer or something, artist maybe. Um, I just assumed he was
Ah.
being silly and sappy.
She was a French socialite.
Oh,
Yeah, I figured it was
From
French as to what it actually means.
Yeah, I figured it was French, and I also know that I very, very super did not pronounce it right, but I cannot pronounce French for the life of me. Recamier. Something like that.
somewhere around there. That's
But the fact that she refers to him as impertinence, like that's his name. Come away, impertinence. Just cracks me up.
gimme.
Yeah, so the rest of the chapter after they leave and each of the remaining at-home marches, Mr. and Mrs. and Joe, each comment on how happy their marriage seems. The rest of the chapter is just the Lawrences for the rest of the evening discussing a tiny bit about their relationship, but mostly speculating on Joe's relationship.
Yeah.
They're just so cute. They're like, no, but this.
I do like that they showed a little bit of I understand like a little bit of I don't want to say insecurity in Amy
I think
when
that's not an inaccurate word.
I know, but it's not the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
Vulnerability maybe?
Yep. That's a good one
Asking
too.
about how he'd feel if Joe married Bear. And I like that she accepted his answer like wholeheartedly, like she knew without a doubt that he meant what he said.
Yeah.
That was really cute. So even though this
yeah.
was a chapter about Amy and Teddy, which Amy tends to like bore me for some reason.
Yep.
I really tolerated I really enjoyed this chapter because there was a lot of cuteness in it. So
Yeah, she was so hesitant to ask him, like, will it bother you if she marries? Because she knows, like, that's gotta be weird being married to somebody that you know used to be very, very, very in love with your sister. Like, that's not nothing.
yeah, it's not nothing.
But
But at the same
Amy,
time, it's like almost that when he realized that he was in love with Amy, he realized that he'd never really been in love with Joe. He'd been in love with the idea of Joe.
yeah,
Yeah, I do think that they worked out that issue of changing from paying attention to Joe to noticing Amy. They worked that out even between themselves before they became a couple, really. Like
yeah,
they talked all that out before.
which is
So
very, very good, because if that had continued to be an issue, that could have been a really big sticking point. And even though very clearly that is a concern for Amy, but I also think that at least part of her question, because very rarely do we do anything with one single thing in our brains. So even though she was obviously very uncertain about it, but I'm inclined to think that she had at least some part of also just being concerned about her husband, in his own right. And, is this going to bother you? Are you like, don't hide stuff from me. But at the same time, I do think that that was a secondary or maybe even lower than that factor. I think that it was definitely a lot more insecurity of like, I know she refused you, but like, I'm not just your second choice, right? Like, you really do love me and not her, right? Like in
you're not
that
marrying-
kind of love.
Like, you're not marrying me to still be close to her, kind of thing.
Or marrying me because you couldn't have her, so I'm the next best thing or something.
Right.
And man, that would be hard. Just picturing what that would feel like, and like that would be hard. I did laugh when even though I don't think it's how it was intended, when they're talking about the good that they want to do, and let me back up a bit. So yeah. Nope. Now I can't even find the part that I was going to say I was laughing about. And in trying to find it, I was going Amy Jo when I meant Amy Laurie. Anyway, but they start talking about the good that they want to do. And we skipped the part about the money.
Yes, that part was really cute. Like, it would kind of like play back to how Amy used to be.
Yeah.
And like how she almost caught the words like as they came out
She's
of
like,
her mouth.
"Oh,
She's
wait."
like,
And she's like, what did she say? Something like, no, a woman shouldn't marry a man for money. Oh. And he's
She
just like,
did.
and the fact that he's like being like mock serious, no, she definitely shouldn't. But some silly girls just might try to do that anyway. And then, another part of her insecurity, it's not that insecurity isn't even for herself. It's her insecurity of needing to know that he knows that she really loves him.
Yeah.
And you do know that I'm not like that, right? Like, I tried to be like that. I realized I couldn't be like that. And he's like, yeah, I know. I was telling your mom that, in fact, because I definitely know that. And you weren't raised to be like that. And I thought it was odd for you to even try to be like that. And I was concerned that you would be different from how you were raised, but then you weren't. And yeah, it's then they're the rest of it's pretty much I'm talking about their desire to be generous with the money that they have.
Yeah.
And the ways that they can give and the ways that and you remember when he saw her and he gave her like jewelry or jewelry box or something. I don't remember what it was he gave her. But he felt like he was so generous, and she's just like, this is nothing to you. It's not generosity when you don't feel anything from having to give it.
I do like
And
that they touched on that. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that this conversation here gives a good comparison to that, or almost a foil to that, of like, Amy knows how to be generous in a different way than Lori does, but Lori knows these contacts and these ways that generosity can be put out into the world that Amy wouldn't have ever experienced. And it really shows what a good team they make, to be able to have this generosity that in many ways they both always wanted to have, but Lori never knew what it was to give till it hurts. And Amy was so aware of what it was to not have that she wanted other people to have. She didn't begrudge other people having something. She just wanted to have the things too. And to be in a place where she's grown through so much of that and is able to focus on her desire to give, and he's able to help direct that while she's able to show him and direct him in what true generosity is, makes a really good pair in that. I did take note when he says, rich people have no right to sit down and enjoy themselves or let their money accumulate for others to waste. It's not half so sensible to leave legacies when one dies as it is to use the money wisely while alive and enjoy making one's fellow creatures happy with it. We'll have a good time ourselves and add an extra relish to our own pleasure by giving other people a generous taste. Will you be a little Dorcas going about emptying a big basket of comforts and filling it up with good deeds? And she says, with all my heart, if you will be a brave St. Martin, stopping as you ride gallantly through the world to share your cloak with the beggar. So I know Dorcas. I did not know St. Martin, so I looked that up. Do either of you know who either of them are that they're referencing? Because I don't want to just.
I don't know.
I mean, I'll still say it like for other people, but I don't want to just like be telling you stuff that you all.
I don't know.
Okay. Dorcas is in the New Testament of the Bible. Her alternate name, because there's a lot of Jewish people at the time, and I feel like a lot of people in the Roman Empire had more than one name because of the different languages, but I don't know a ton about that. I just know that a lot of Jewish people had a Hebrew name and also a Greek and or Roman name. So I believe Dorcas was her Greek name and Lydia was her Hebrew name, but I could be wrong about which origin names are from. But at any rate, she was a Christian in the New Testament church who was known for giving to the poor, and she had it talks about the big basket of comforts. She had purple cloth, if I remember correctly. But anyway, she had textiles that she would give, blankets and clothes and things to people in need. So that's what he's referencing when he asks her, where'd Lisa go?
Oh,
She just like reached up to her phone and then vanished. Oh, there she is. Hi. So that's what he's referencing when he asks her, she'll be Dorcas, with a basket of comforts, filling it up with good deeds. He's referencing Dorcas who gave so much away. Lisa, your mouth is moving, but I can't hear you saying anything. But it's not muted. Hi, can you hear us?
no, she just can't hear us, and that she can't, and that she doesn't know why
Yeah.
it's not working.
I don't know either.
Need to
Saint
come back, I guess.
Saint Martin was a member of the Roman guard who was stationed in Gaul in present day France. And according to the story, he saw a beggar at the gate of the city, and he stopped and cut his cloak in half. Can you hear us
I
now?
can hear
Yay!
you. Yay.
So Saint Martin was I was just saying Saint Martin was a member of the Roman Guard. And in present day France, he was entering a city and he saw a beggar and stopped and cut his cloak in half and gave it to the beggar to wrap himself in. And then there are different stories of either having had a dream that night or of Jesus being wrapped in that half of his cloak and saying, this soldier Martin gave this to me. Or that he woke the next morning and the cloak was whole again, or there are different stories that go with it. But at any rate, that is who Saint Martin is. So yeah, when he asks her if she'll be Dorcas, he's referencing Dorcas in the New Testament, who was known for giving textile goods to people in needs. And when she says, if you'll be brave Saint Martin, she's referencing a saint who was known for having cut his own cloak in half so that he could wrap, which like that was like physically part of the Roman armor. They had the cloak as part of it. Like he could have gotten in trouble for not having that improper attire. I would imagine he would have to pay to replace it. So she's referencing Saint Martin being willing to give of his own items and at risk to himself.
Pulling the cloak off his back.
So anyway, chapter 45, Daisy and Demi.
That was kind of cute. I liked talking about the little kids again. And can I just say that I love that Demi does everything with D's.
Which is why they have Auntie Dodo. Aunt Dodo. I love Aunt Dodo.
That was really cute. Yeah.
And
It's not the first time that they've referenced Aunt Dodo, but it makes me laugh every time.
yeah,
I think I don't remember if it was for our last session or the session before that, but the first time that we did see them reference Aunt Dodo, I had to stop and go like, Dodo? Dorothy? Okay, wait. Meg, Jojo, Dodo. Like, I really had to stop and think to go through it. Like, did not just spring to my brain.
I couldn't remember from previously that they had said that, so it's like I thought it was Joe, but I wasn't 100% sure until they're like, they don't know Aunt Amy yet, and then Aunt Beth became a distant memory, and I was like, oh, so it is Joe.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I love so much of the childish speech that they put in there. I was also reading this going, of course they are the most remarkable children ever born, as will be shown when I mention that they walked at 8 months, and so did one of my sons. The other one walked at 9 months. Talked fluently at 12 months. Yep, so did my kids. Or by 12 months. And at 2 years, they took their places at table and behaved with a propriety which charmed all beholders. Nope, my children still don't do that. We're working on the propriety thing. But the walking and talking, we got that covered. I mean, they're 9 and 11 now, so.
My niece, being a special circumstance, did not hit any of those goals for certain reasons that I won't bring up on camera. But when she was 6 months old, she did reach for my brother and say what sounded, I know it was kid garble, but it sounded like, I want my daddy. And she reached for my brother at 6 months. So I mean, I know it wasn't full English, but it was still pretty
That's so
cute.
adorable. When my older son was 11 months old, the first time he properly said daddy. Well, he didn't quite properly say daddy, but it was on my husband's birthday, and my husband went down the hallway, and my son went, "Daddy, yay!" And then after that could say daddy. But he was always very particular. He would not say things until he could say them correctly. Like, obviously, there are things that kids' mouths just can't form correctly, but he wouldn't say mama because we referred to me as mommy. So he just didn't refer to me as anything until he could actually pronounce mommy. He didn't say dada. He waited until he could actually pronounce daddy. And spent at 15 months old or so, spent an entire day from breakfast to supper practicing no matter what he was doing all day long. Uh, uh, until by the end of the day he could say, oh. Like, determined he's gonna get this.
Knowing your kids, I can see that.
Yeah, not shocking, right? So anyway, reading how utterly remarkable they were in all of this. I love that she still had all of the child speech in there. Like, she's not trying to make them unrealistically remarkable.
And the fact that they ask question after question after question down the
Also, my
rabbit
children.
I liked Mr. Book's response. If they are old enough to come up with and ask the question, they are old enough to know an answer.
And then Demi so thoroughly gives the wrong answer. It's amazing.
It was so cute.
And
It was such a
just
kid
like,
thing.
and I don't have my book about her life right here, but I know that Louisa May Alcott was a she had siblings, and I feel like she had a lot of younger siblings, if I remember correctly. And I think that she might have based, because I know that she based a lot of Little Women, the interactions in Little Women, on herself and her sisters. And I just feel like a lot of the conversation and there's a lot of the stuff with Demi and Daisy, she had those children in her life that she was basing these on.
Oh, I'm sure she had someone she was thinking of for both Demi and Daisy.
Yeah. There we go. That'll work.
I like how they kept referring to Daisy as like little Beth. Like they felt like she embodied Beth so much. I'm like, can you imagine how much, as someone who's dealing with loss, how much of a gauze that is to have someone come in your life and just so innocently and preciously help heal a hole there. Like to
Yeah.
be able to talk about that person and not cry because you're not feeling the loss.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
It's like they're similar, but they're their own person, but they're enough of a band-aid to help soothe the ache.
Right. Yes, absolutely. I like that description very much. I love Demi asking about what makes his legs go.
Yeah, that's so cute.
And then, well, Grandpa is explaining it. He's like, open me so I can see how I'm wound. You know, you opened up your watch so I could see how your watch was wound. So open me up so I can see how God winds me. And like all of him just trying to like explain, like, okay, no, wait, it doesn't quite work that way. Let's try this again, back up a little. And yeah, the whole thing, it's so cute. Um and then and then trying to find the knob to wind with on his back, and then he's like, I guess he must do it while I'm asleep.
While I'm
Just
asleep, yep.
All of it. I love it so much.
Well, we
Speaking
do
of
go to
asleep,
sleep to
Karen.
recharge our batteries, so you know.
Yep. Uh,
I guess Dot does it when I was asleep.
mm-hmm.
Um
Yep.
Just oh my gosh, so much about him. Demi in particular. Makes me think so much of my children. And then Professor Bear is calling on Joe. And Demi and Daisy are a little bit jealous. Because
They're still
she's
in Aunt Dodo.
she's their Aunt Dodo. And
That's right.
Aunt Dodo likes playing with Professor Bear better than she likes playing with them.
I can't blame her.
This one seemed to imply that they got closer, but it isn't saying that they're like dating or engaged or anything.
Well,
So,
they're not engaged.
We know that Lori and Amy approve.
Her parents approve, Mr. and Mrs. March.
Mr. March is the last one to figure out the interest. Right at the end of the last chapter that we read. He's like, oh, he's not just coming to have philosophical conversations with me. Huh, how about that? And figures it out because a 3-year-old is like, do great boys like great girls too? And the fact that if we're little boys and little girls, then those are great boys and great girls.
Sometimes kids notice things before we do.
They're very observant.
Okay, but again, I'm not sure if it's before we do in this case. I think it's just before Mr. March. Feels like everybody else knows at this point.
Hey, but yeah, probably. Really. Yeah, really.
Just didn't occur to him that
Nope.
Joe might be going anywhere. At which point it does have a little bit of a Mr. Bennett and Elizabeth kind of a vibe. Which also could be because I've been reading tons of Pride and Prejudice fanfiction lately, but still.
Oh no.
Oh no, what? What are we on?
Apparently, I did one more row on my first glove than I did my second. And I cut my string.
That's an issue. I just pulled 3 green paints out of my drawer before I finally found a blue one. And that was while reaching around browns. And it's super random, but I just have to mention he gives him Professor Bear gives him the chocolate drop, and at the same time that Demi's saying that when he had gone to see it's a little girl named Mary, and he's like, yeah, I kissed her and she kissed me. Don't little boys like little girls? And which of course has a much more innocent context than he intends, but like they all take it the way they take it. And she's just like, you precocious chick, who put that into your head? And he thinks that she's talking about the chocolate drop. So he's like, it isn't in my head, just in my mouth. And I laughed because all I could think of was, did you watch Jessica Jones?
Not in a while.
Have you seen it though?
Like when it first came out.
Yeah. So when her best friend, whose name starts with a T, but I can't think of her name right now. And like my brain's going like Trudy, Tracy to something. Anyway, when Kilgrave orders her to put a bullet in her head, and that's Jessica's solution is to pick up a bullet from the ground and put it into her mouth and say, there, it's in your head. It's in your head. Okay, it's in your head. So that's all I could think when he's like, it's not in my head, it's in my mouth. I'm like, that's part of your head. You do know that, right?
It counts.
Then again, his brain is in his belly, so so adorable. And then yeah, and then he's just so innocently and do great boys like great girls too. And Bear's just kind of remember something, move on. And Joe's just like, I'm gonna go do something else, and then I'm gonna give Demi a great big hug later because he clearly cleared up something for somebody in some manner. And confused the ever-loving daylights out of poor Demi. He's like, I was where I wasn't supposed to be. So she hugged me and gave me a treat. I'm very confused right now. But yeah, that's what it took for Mr. March to finally go, oh, there's more to this. Got it. That I'm pretty sure everybody else has known for, I don't know how long Mr. Bear's been there at this point,
About a week or
but at
so, I
least
think.
that long and maybe longer. Yeah. So we have chapter 46, Under the Umbrella,
Yeah, 47.
and chapter 47, Harvest Time,
The last
for,
two chapters of the book.
for next time. And after that, we will figure out, next time is January 23rd, just clear. And after that, or by then, we two should figure, we two, you two, me and me, we three. I was looking at the two of you and I was like, we as in two and me. I left me out of the two.
We three. A merry band of three.
Anyway, we will need to figure out how we're going to handle the watching the movie. And if anybody else has any input, you can comment under this video or shoot a message to the Pixie Elegance page on Facebook and let us know if you would like us to try to figure out some sort of watching it while we're together and live streaming our reactions, live posting our reactions, watching it, and then live streaming us talking about it after. We will discuss what we're going to do, but if anybody has any thoughts of what you would like us to do, let us know.
So,
We got a good month before we'll actually be at that point anyway.
Yep.
So, but you may manage for progress today.
Well, if I hadn't cut my string a row early, I would be done. Ta-da!
I think I've settled on a design very similar to this. So it's like this is like wire wrapped here. This is supposed to look like string, and there's beads on this one.
Cute. I like it.
I like it.
I got some stuff blocked out on this in the lines. I can't think of what thing I was using to do that. oil pastel in that. Um, and then I got some colors put in. So I will plan to get the rest of the colors put in and hopefully finish that and get started on the shading and highlighting next time. And by next time, hopefully I'll have a lot more updates, and there should be a lot more updates on social media between now and then. And anything else
And,
either of you have to say before we go?
I will be doing my 3-year raffle after the book club next week, in 2 weeks.
Sweet.
Yep. So I'm going to be setting up my Etsy. I'm almost done setting it up to buy raffle tickets over the next 2 weeks for said raffle. Everyone who buys a ticket gets at least something worth the value that they put in. So
Cool.
I am working on my first ever temperature scarf for the year. For my shop.
Fun.
I think I'm gonna keep the temperature scarf, but the point is I'm doing it as a shop thing. And every month
It'd be
I'm
a
also
really
making
long scarf.
yes, it's gonna be like 720
Right.
rows by the time I'm done. Uh,
like
because I'm doing
Doctor
2 rows a
Who,
day.
long.
That's what I was thinking.
But
And this is colorful.
I'm also doing a monthly stuffed animal,
Ooh,
in
fun.
temperature form. So
In
I am,
temperature. That's
yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, so it's the same colors, just only for the month instead of the whole year.
Fun.
I put together all the colors in a bag last week, so I have all the colors, all 12 colors that I'll need. And I'm just keeping them together with that. And this month is a snake, and what I'm gonna do is at the end of the month, once it's completed, I'm gonna do a raffle. I think I'm gonna put the raffle at like $1 a ticket to see if anybody wants the temperature stuffed animal. So
Fun.
I thought the snake was gonna be a year-long thing. I was like, that thing is gonna be so freaking long at 3 rows of a color. I'm like,
no,
it's
the
gonna
snake is a month long. That's
Hey, you know what my sister did? She knit it, but you know what she did this last year instead of a temperature one? She did a book blanket and she had it color coded based on the genres of books she was reading throughout the year. It came out really nice.
I've seen people do a lot of cool things. Like they see somebody put like every book they read in the year, they put it in a little bulb, like an
yeah, like
ornament,
a little Christmas ornament thing.
like books read in 2023.
I have a tendency to not finish a book before I start another one, and then I'm on the same books for about 5 years because I'm bouncing between them and reading a chapter here and then a chapter of that one and then that one over there, and like 30,000 fan fictions in between, but not a lot of like actual regular books that I can name the author of with anything other than a username of screen name. And so I even if I did manage to be finishing multiple books in a year more regularly, there's a 0% chance I would be that organized about tracking all of them. But anyway, so let's say goodnight. I think we've made up for the 5 minutes that were lost at the beginning.
Sorry.
I mean, I was here anyway, but yeah.
I'm passing out. I'm trying to stay awake, but
Yeah. So so anyway, we'll see everybody next time.